It was shocking to me in 2019, before COVID, how many people were willing to have a conversation with me and give me very personal information about their business, about their life. And I think it was because the trust factor was there because I was asking the right questions. So they knew I was obviously not a scammer because I was asking a lot of questions. And that was really helpful. And I still, in our sales process, we ask a lot of questions so that we understand their situation.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Well, welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. This is a part one of two-part series with entrepreneur and founder of Zacharin Consulting, Natalia Zacharin. You are about to hear a story that challenges everything you think you need to start a bookkeeping business, from zero experience to building a multi-million-dollar firm and landing on the Inc. 5000. Natalia's journey is anything but typical. Let's find out more right now. Our guest is the founder of Zacharin Consulting, which is a firm that goes far beyond traditional bookkeeping. She has an inspiring business journey, and I'm excited to have her on the podcast. Natalia, welcome to the show.
I am honored and super excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And I was just reading a little bit of your backstory briefly before the show. And yeah, I was really excited about this episode. I love talking about business journey. It's always so much fun to be a fly on the wall, if you will, and to go and see like how did you get from A to B? Where'd you fall down? Where'd you get up? All those good things. So I'm super excited. So let's maybe start off with a little bit of a background in how you ended up being here.
So very non-traditional background. I was an invoicing clerk at a corporation. Kind of saw that they were getting rid of my position. They started demoting my position. I was looking for other work. At that time, I was in my late 40s, actually probably about 49 years old, a single mom. And I couldn't find another job. Like, no one was hiring. So I had met someone who is now my fiance. We had just started dating. And we were sitting in a cafe, and he said, well, why don't you start your own business? And I thought, doing what? I thought that was I almost felt like it was silly. It never even occurred to me. And he said, I don't know, like bookkeeping, accounting, it's a really good business. And he has a tax firm. So he is already in that world, and he owns his own business. So I thought, that's not a bad idea. I could always just get a few bookkeeping clients on the side to help make ends meet. So I started out never thinking that I was going to build a business. I started out thinking this was going to be a side gig for extra cash. And that was back in the very end of 2018. He sent me a course on how to start your own business in 8 weeks that he found somewhere. So I just, after work and after I put my child to bed, I'd go through the course, and it talked about who was your ideal client, which I had no idea who my ideal client was. So I kind of skipped over some parts, or I just guessed at things. It gave me some options on pricing and how to reach out to people. The main thing is it told me just to reach out to people. And so I did. I reached out to people in January, and my very first LinkedIn campaign, someone called me back and said, I need your help. And I got my first client in January. I remember the exact date, January 29th, I believe it was, 2019. He's still my client.
Wow. So January, this is like 1 year before COVID.
Yes.
Basically, who knows, maybe wherever COVID actually has an official start date, but I think it's kind of like 19 was the anything in 19 was kind of a pre, and you were January 2019 is when you started your business. Now, jumping
Yeah.
back a little bit there, I'm curious, the work that you did before, what was the name of the work you did? It was a clerk of some.
I was an invoicing clerk. I was invoicing out of, first it was Microsoft Dynamics, and then they switched to NetSuite. So I had never even
Okay.
seen QuickBooks.
So you were just making sure these invoices were going out and coming back. And so that's a little bit of a clue that you had some attention to detail and you understood the mechanics, but really no bookkeeping experience. This is
Yeah.
just like, hey, let's go figure this out. And so between when you decided, okay, so you're leaving that job, trying to find a new job, your now fiance says, hey, start a business. What was the gap of time between that and January of 2019?
So still working full time and commuting. When they reduced my salary, I asked, well, obviously I can't afford to commute now. And they were like, they were taken aback. But they said, sure, you can definitely work from home. That gave me space and some bandwidth. I didn't have to fight traffic because the commute was pretty brutal. It was an hour in each direction. I didn't have to fight traffic. It gave me more time. And then as they were transitioning my position out, I actually had less work to do. So they were paying me less, but I also had less to do. So now I had more time to work from home and build something else. And honestly, I kind of feel like they were maybe giving me that opportunity. They didn't fire me. I think they were giving me an opportunity. I'd been there for 6 years. I'd worked really hard. I was really hurt. And I thought, why is this happening to me? Looking back, though, I'm really excited that it happened to me. And it was meant to be. And it was basically almost the universe telling me there's something else for you out there. So it wasn't in alignment with who I could be. And of course, when that's happening to you at 49 years old, in 2019 was the year I turned 50. And I actually walked in and ended up quitting my job in August, the month I turned 50. It's hard at that time because it took me 11 months to actually start making real money, enough to cover my mortgage, my costs.
So between Jan 19th, it took, how many months did you say it was?
Till November.
To November. So almost a year to actually making enough money to cover the bills here. So this is a very interesting story so far. Let's give the listener a little bit of I cut you off because I wanted to go backwards, but really, tell a little bit about where you are, because I was reading your bio and it's pretty remarkable where the story is ending. And let's give them a little snapshot of where you are today, and then we'll go back to like, how did you do this?
Sure. So, and I'm sure you want to talk about this too. In January 2021, I started rolling out fractional CFO services. I started hiring slowly, and now we are in 2026. This is our 7th year in business. We have 16 employees. Our goal is to hit 4 million. We're tracking over 3 million already this year. I'm pretty sure we're going to hit our goal. And we have 3 CFOs working for us, 3 CPAs working for us, 1 MBA, a lot of bookkeepers, and a sales team.
Wow. And you hit the Inc. 5,000.
Yes.
Yeah. When did that happen? What year was that?
That was in the 2025 list. So in 2024, we just crossed over 2 million in gross revenue, which is when you can apply. Previous to that, we were on the Inc. regionals at number 25 or 24, I can't remember now. And then we hit number 802 out of the Inc. 5,000 last year.
Wow. And that's kind of to give, for those that don't know, the Inc. 5,000 is kind of like tracking your growth. And so you're like 800, like that's remarkable result. And so in 5 years, you hit the Inc. 5,000, which is the fastest growing companies in the United States, top 5,000, and you're in the top 20%.
Yes, it's, I still can't believe it, honestly, myself. It's been chaotic at times. It's been difficult at times. I would say, though, the first 2 years were probably more difficult than they are now, because as you grow, as your business grows, you also grow as a leader. And something that would have crushed you a couple of years ago, you've become more accustomed to it and more resilient.
Yes. Okay. Well, that's where you are now, which is remarkable. So congratulations on all of that. Like it's super awesome. And so let's jump back now. Took you a year to get to some traction. So January, you got your first client, and tell us a little bit about that. You reached out to people, and most people think reaching out people, you're actually reaching out live. You actually did this online. It sounds like with LinkedIn. Is that the idea? So
Yes.
tell us a little bit about that. You go through this process of, okay, I'm going to start my business, and you start reaching out on LinkedIn. What did that look like?
So I went through this process of first looking for business owners on LinkedIn, seeing what they do and trying to connect with them. And then just starting a conversation, not sounding salesy. No one likes it when you just come out with like a full 3 paragraphs of what you do. No one cares. I'm just trying to connect with people at that point. So just connect with them. Hey, how's business going? And they can see right away in your LinkedIn profile in the headline what you do. So if there's a need, they start asking questions right away, or they become interested. And if there's not a need, and they do respond to you, hey, business is going well, how's your business going? You can kind of chat. At that point, it was just a lot of chatting with people, to be honest. And I did message this one, he's in the landscaping industry. And I messaged him, and he said business is going really well, but profit is not really good. And we kind of just started a conversation and said, let's jump on a call. And at that point, I don't even think Zoom was yet a thing, so it was a phone call. And he's out in California. I'm in Maryland. So It was shocking to me in 2019, before COVID, how many people were willing to have a conversation with me and give me very personal information about their business, about their life. And I think it was because the trust factor was there, because I was asking the right questions. So they knew I was obviously not a scammer because I was asking a lot of questions. And that was really helpful. And I still, in our sales process, we ask a lot of questions so that we understand their situation first.
Okay. So this person reached out to you, and you're building trust. You're just reaching out to people. How do you reach out to how do you know who to reach out to on LinkedIn?
Any business owner. I do look at, have they been active recently, because they won't see my message if they're not active. Have they, how many employees do they have? Because if they have over 100 employees, especially back then, I wasn't going to take a big client like that. Now I do, but back then I wanted smaller clients because I didn't know, I didn't have enough confidence yet, and I actually did not have enough education yet in what I was doing. So he was a pretty small client. He'd only had a few employees, and he hired me to oversee his bookkeeper, which I thought was interesting. He had a bookkeeper. And the minute I got into the books, I saw that there was really something looked awfully wrong. There was like a negative $2 million on the profit and loss. And I saw that the revenue wasn't being recorded at all. And even with not knowing and not understanding bookkeeping, I was like, oh, this is completely wrong. So I used YouTube to teach myself how to do a cleanup. I did it completely for free because I didn't know that I needed to charge for a cleanup. So I cleaned up 2019, going through YouTube videos second by second. And if I didn't understand what they said on the video, I'd pause it, repeat that over and over again until I would do it step by step and see what would happen. And I think that the biggest thing is I wanted to see, I had several screens open, and on one screen, I would have the profit and loss and the balance sheet open. And I would refresh every time I would make a change on one side. I'd refresh the balance sheet and the profit and loss, and I would see what it did. And that was how I learned. And I think that was actually a really, really good way to learn, because I taught myself how to read financials, not how to do just data entry. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like reverse engineering this whole thing. And so you that's the other piece of the story. You're not a bookkeeper. You self-taught through YouTube on all the different various pieces of information out there, which is people forget, like the education is education. Just
Yes.
it's out there, and more than ever, it's out there from different communities, learning platforms, YouTube. You can learn anything you want in the world today online. And it's all there, and a lot of it could be free, like you've proven that. So you went through this, you've trained yourself through YouTube, and you're starting to build some momentum here. When it came to these first couple of clients, when they became clients, did you, like, how did that process go? You're onboarding them, you're taking them on. Did you make mistakes? What did that early days look like?
I think I was really lucky because I did hire in 2021, I believe it was, I hired my current manager, who was a CPA, and he told me, "You're actually doing really well. Things are in really good shape. Just a few things have to be tweaked, like the ending balance entries to tie it to the tax return, like those kinds of things. Other than that, we were actually doing quite well, which was really it made me very happy because I wasn't 100% sure until I hired a CPA who has that technical knowledge to be able to oversee what we were doing. And I did make a mistake. I would say this to anybody who's looking to hire and growing. I wish I hired him first before my other employees, because I think I would have grown faster with a lot less stress if I had. And I was nervous to hire someone as a six-figure salary, and I didn't even have a team yet, for him to quote unquote be a manager. I was nervous about hiring an accounting manager without having a team. And I still wasn't really sure of myself, and really wasn't sure where the firm was going to grow. But now, looking backwards, it would have been more beneficial to hire someone that at a higher level.
This person came in and kind of said, okay, this is what you're doing well, this is what you can do better. So they helped further educate you in the business model. But
Yes.
you were doing well in the business. And so between that first couple of clients to the end of that year, how did you go through those months? Did you find new places to get clients? Did you have to hire in those first couple of years? How did you figure out, like, there's lots to figure out.
There's a lot to figure out, and it's a lot slower than you want it to be, and a lot slower than you think it should be, and you feel like, I kept feeling like I was just spiraling downwards, and I couldn't get out of this. I was on poverty levels, to be honest. I made less than $40,000. So for a family, because I'm a single mom, that put me on poverty levels. I wasn't even allowed to get like Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had to be on Medicaid, which was very not satisfying to me, because I have a college degree, I'm working, I don't understand what happened, right? So it took a lot longer. I only had 4 clients by August of that first year. And I did a combination of outreach on LinkedIn, and I joined a women's business group that was local. So I would go to their luncheons, and I would make it my, I was very specific before I walked in. I take a deep breath and say, I'm here to get a client, not to socialize. To socialize somewhat, but my objective is to get a client, not just to have a good time and eat lunch. And so I would remind myself of that as I'm walking in, and I would talk to all of these women at the luncheon. And so several of my first clients were a combination of ladies at that women's business group who are still my clients, and a few people that I met through LinkedIn. But it took a long time. Like I said, I only had 4 clients by August. I quit my job because it became too overwhelming and unsustainable to continue looking for more work, to do the actual work, and to work full time, and to be a mom. So I decided in August that I have proof of concept enough in my mind that I need to just really up my game and find more clients and quit my job and just burn my bridges in that regard and be all in, because it was getting unsustainable. So in August of 2019, I quit my job. And by November, I had 12 clients. So now I
Wow.
was actually making money.
Wow. And so these, what would you say the winning formula would be for getting those so you had more time. Did you
Yes,
just go and apply more to the energies to the things that were working? What worked best there?
I did. I did not like going to the typical places that people go to find business. I didn't want to join BNI because I didn't want to be locked in
Mm.
to a specific amount of time and specific meetings. I wanted to be more self-sustaining and just more independent. I think the problem that I see a lot of people make a lot is they don't dedicate enough time to lead generation and business development. They work on the client work and then they don't dedicate enough time for finding more clients and building that pipeline. And I dedicated more time for that. So I ended up working at least 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for a
Mm.
very long time because I was doing the client work and I was trying to solicit more business. So for me, the formula was that I just had to work more, and whatever I found worked. You have to iterate, right? You have to look at what you're doing. Is it working? Is it not working because you need to just tweak something, or is it just not working? And so I would tweak things. I would go to another business group and then realize, no, I don't think that my ideal client would be here. I don't think I'm going to get any business, and give it a chance. I would go to LinkedIn and I would tweak my messaging a little bit and see what actually worked. So it's not giving up because it takes a long time to build momentum and to figure things out when you're selling, because selling is psychological. It's not intuitive. So I just didn't give up. I didn't have an option. I didn't feel like I had other options. So I just kept
Hmm.
going.
That's kind of part of it too. Is like you say, burn the bridges. You've got your child to take care of. You've got no job now. There's health insurance issues. You've got to make this successful, and so you've set yourself up to do that. Now, some people might think, oh, that's really unhealthy to work that much time and put that much stress on yourself. Did you feel like it was all? I mean, obviously you are where you are, but did you feel that it was unhealthy what you were doing? Would you have done it differently if you could go back to that time? And if so, what would you do differently?
So yes, I started getting really excited that if something was working for me, if it was impactful to move the needle, what if I double down on that and do that even more?
Hmm.
And that's how I've just been running my business is if something's really working, let's do more of that faster. And that's what I did from the very beginning. And yes, I did have points in 2020 when COVID came. So I was finally doing so well. My mom was helping me financially. And I called my mom in January 2020, be like, Mom, you don't have to help me anymore, which was an amazing moment for me because I hated getting help from someone. I wasn't getting any alimony or child support. So my poor mom was helping me. So I called my mom. I said, Mom, you don't have to help me anymore. She's like, are you sure? I said, yes, I'm absolutely sure. And then in April, I see all of my clients just all of their revenues tank. And I'm thinking, well, great. Now I finally got out of a mess and I'm back in a mess again. And I pivoted. I went to helping clients understand how to apply for the PPP and the EIDL. I know that was free, but a lot of them didn't know how to apply, and I knew how to and what information needed to be in there. So we had like 100%, it was just me, 100% almost a guarantee that they would get the money, and they did. And then we had 100% guarantee that they would get the forgiveness, and they did. So it was really a great way to help people. And then there were plenty of other businesses that still needed help because they were still running their business. But I had learned, and the question was, do people think that pushing too hard is unhealthy? In 2020, around August, I was the business was running really well, but it was just me. And I was working tremendous hours. It was very stressful. There were people crying. It was really hard for them. I was trying to help as much as possible. I stopped exercising because everything was closed. And I stopped wanting to exercise because I could take that time and work more. And I
Hmm.
realized later that year that I started feeling like I had no energy. And I started feeling unwell.
What an amazing conversation so far. In part 2 of this series with Natalia, she gets even more practical, sharing how to avoid burnout, price with confidence, and build a business that truly scales. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. For resources and links, visit thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.